Hello, Louisa Jewell here with your weekly juice. Last week, I talked about the importance of personal narratives. Those are the stories that we tell ourselves and about our lives. And those personal narratives end up influencing our thoughts and guiding our behaviors and actions. So it's so important to understand what your personal narratives are if you want to go after certain goals in your life, especially those really big goals. So today I want to talk about 4 different things you can do to change your personal narratives. So number 1 is to challenge your limiting beliefs. Understand what are some of those things in your story that you tell yourself every day that is blocking you from moving forward. I'll give you an example. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was so convinced that the circumstances around his life were making him miserable and that he couldn't change the circumstances. And I just asked a really simple question to challenge his limiting belief. I said, "Is that true? Is that true?" And he said, "Well, of course it's true." He kind of got defensive. But then when we kind of explored a little bit, we realized that he really hadn't explored changing his circumstances to see if he could accommodate a different way of living. And once he kind of explored that, then he was able to see that maybe there is hope in his ability to be able to change his circumstance and change his life. So if there is a belief that you're believing that is stopping you from going after what you really want, ask yourself, is it true? And then see, and you might even solicit the help of a friend to help you through that particular process. So that's one way to change your personal narrative. Now, the second way to change your personal narrative is to ask yourself, when have you shown up this way in the past? When I think about who do I need to be to make this really big goal happen, I ask myself, when have I shown up as that person in the past? What was I doing? What was happening? What was happening then that is not happening now? This is a really powerful question, because when you can take yourself back to a time when you are actually showing up the way you want to show up, it actually improves your confidence and your courage, because you realize you are capable. You're capable of doing this because you've done it in the past. So it's a very, very powerful question to ask yourself. When have I done this in the past? What's happening? What was happening back then that is not happening now? And then you can change your environment, circumstances, etc., to help you with that, to help you move forward. Now, the third thing you can do is ask yourself, who will support you? Who will encourage you as you move forward? Never underestimate how powerful it is to have the right people around you as you're achieving these really big goals. I meet with my accountability partner every Monday morning for an hour, and we hadn't seen each other in a couple of weeks. One of us was sick one week, another week, one of us was away. And we said, "Oh, I was kind of down last week." And we realized, oh my gosh, it's because we haven't met in 2 weeks. I realized how powerful it was to have somebody on my side, somebody supporting me and encouraging me. So ask yourself, who in your life can support you and encourage you to show up in the way you want to be, to help you change that story, to help you change those personal narratives, to be the person that you want to be to achieve those particular goals. And the last thing I want to say is, one of the best ways that you can start changing your personal narrative is to start taking baby steps in showing up the way you really want to be. When you start to take baby steps, you start to gain in your courage and your confidence that you can actually make this change. And I say baby steps because sometimes when we think, oh, I have to be that person over there, we just don't believe we can be that person over there just yet, and we don't start moving towards those actions and behaviors. If we just take a little baby step, like for example, I sometimes don't always stand up for myself. I feel like I want to be, nice, and I don't often stand up for what's important to me. And I've decided that if I need to be a different person. I need to show up differently to achieve those goals. I need to be able to stand up for what is important to me, for what I want to do, for how I want to move forward. And I started to change. I started to just speak up more around what I wanted and how I wanted to move forward. And I did it in professional, respectful ways. And guess what? People were fine with that. People were okay with that. And I started to live a different way and started to move more towards those moonshot goals. Those are really big goals in my life. So I hope those 4 different steps are helpful for you, because once you change your personal narratives, once you change the stories you tell yourself about yourself and your life will change, because you will be living a life that will align with the destiny that you were meant to fulfill. So thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.